Welcome to Season 7 of A Little Birdie Told Me with rollercoaster.ie. I'm your host, Rebecca Horan, and on Episode 8, I'm joined by content creator Aoife Bermingham. A trigger warning for this episode, Aoife and I discuss her stillborn baby. Sponsored by Optimal Follow On. We believe that every feed is a gift. That's why we've dedicated over 50 years to breast milk research. Optimal Follow On Milk, your life, our science. Breastfeeding is best. Follow On milk should be used as part of a mixed diet from 6 months. Talk to a health professional. And if you like this episode, it would be a great help if you could like it, share it, and subscribe to the podcast. Absolutely delighted on this episode to have Aoife Bermingham, who I'm kind of thinking like influencer, and then I'm like content creator, businesswoman, mum of 3. There's kind of so many facets. What would you describe yourself as? And welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Rebecca. I suppose a little bit of all that in one. Yeah, there's like a big circle and there's lots of different pieces of the pie to me, I suppose.
And you love it. Like you love what you're doing now and how you've kind of pivoted effectively.
I'm content right now where I am this year. Yes. My kids are at an easier age too, so it kind of helps out a bit.
We were brought together on a press trip and I'd heard your name and knew about you because you were obviously in, you know, everyone talked about you and you put content up, but I don't think I knew enough about you and was just busy in my own little world to then go meet you, go, oh my God, she's just on it. She knew how to capture content, but it wasn't an obsessive, like I loved how you were like, just get this little thing and then I don't have to look at my phone all day, which I really admired. And it's kind of not, I think it's also our age, you're just not, you don't want to be on your phone. And you knew what to capture. You were so interesting, your life story. I was like, wow. And then I went back and I was following you and everything that you create. And I know that you make beautiful reels that we can all kind of relate to. But is there someone on Instagram who you're like, she's so awesome?
Oh God.
Mom, mainly a mom. Like who do you follow and go, fucking love her content?
Love? Oh my God. There's a lot of people I follow that I really love.
Is there anyone in England or Ireland that you just like?
No, they'd be mainly Irish people that
Really?
I follow. Yeah, mainly Irish people. I can't think off the top of my head right now, but it will come to me.
But I think people are kind of emulating the stuff you do. And I was saying to you there, Fabulous Pharmacist is so funny where she does her day in the life. I love a day in the life.
Yeah.
Like it could just be when you're in it, getting the kids out the door is just monumental. And it's just getting the kids out the door.
Hardest part of the day.
What is that?
I
think it's the clock, is it?
It's the clock. It's the fact that, can I just go back to what happened this weekend? They're all up at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. Do you think they were out of bed at that time on Monday morning? No, I had to try and drag them out of the bed at 7:30.
What is that?
I don't know.
Drives me insane about the weekends, the 6 a.m.ers. I'm like, do that. And then today is like, I don't want to get up.
I just like getting 3 of them out the door is, you know, when you check your phone to see like, you know, what's your busiest, like stressful part of the day, like your heart rate is going really fast. It's like an intense workout. It is during that time.
What age are yours?
5, 7 and 9.
So super busy.
Super busy, yeah.
But it's like, I think you as a woman, I'm not condemning the men, rethink all your life's decisions. Like you go through a lot in that hour. It sounds so silly, but it's like, should we have had more kids? Should we have moved to this house? Is the commute to, I think I need to quit my job. And it's like every morning the same narrative. Yeah. But I think we all go through it. I don't think it's just me. Like,
and then like the odd day that nothing goes wrong and everything goes smooth, you're like, what's around the corner? Because it's just doesn't feel like real life. Yeah.
And they're lovely, beautiful mornings where I feel the mornings where I can kind of be slower getting into the office or bring the dog up. It's like they know my calm and they feel it. Yeah. And then we just have a zen morning and it's fucking amazing.
Well, I get up an hour and a half probably before.
See, I need to do that. I don't do that, Aoife.
No, I have to do that. Otherwise, if I don't get up that hour and a half beforehand, then it is a complete shit show because I need that time to myself. I'm doing chores that I don't have time to do any other time of the day. So it's my little bit of time just to get my house.
So what time do you get up at?
I get up at 6. Wow. And I literally go down and I'm doing laundry for an hour. Yeah. Because I don't like it building up.
But also your own head time, probably.
My head time too. I could do it in peace. Yeah. And it's done and I don't have to worry about it. I'm practically doing it in my sleep, to be honest. But I need that time for me just to get some household chores organised and just to get myself ready because I'm too tired in the evening times. It's crazy after the day. And, you know, I'm trying to fit all my work that I need to get done between 9 o'clock when when the kids are gone to 1:30. So I'm trying to cram like, you know, a whole day's work into that 5 hours, you know.
That's a lot.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah.
Aoife told me, and I I found her fascinating because when we were away, she told me a lot about her life and her family and her past, but you told me about your, I was like, what do you or did you do? And I never think you should say to a woman what you do because, like, well, I'm raising kids. It's pretty much the fucking most horrendously busy job there is and unpaid. But what did you do? And you were like, no, Rebecca, I was in financial corporate world for a very long time. And I was like, what? And you were like, yeah. And hence why you were able to run the business and all the books. Tell me about that.
So, well, I spent most of my 20s living in New York, where I worked in media and hospitality. So I worked for the Irish newspaper, the Irish Echo, out in New York for all of my 20s, well, most of my 20s. And then I always had like a sideline gig working in, bars and restaurants and stuff like that. So when I was coming to move back home to Ireland, it was like a whole new fresh start. And I believe anybody can do anything they want and completely like rechange.
Why do you say that?
I just believe if you want to do something or you need to start afresh, there's nothing stopping you.
You don't have fear?
Never have fear.
Why?
I've never had the fear because fear holds you back from doing things. Like I moved to America on my own. I moved to Spain on my own.
Sorry, quickly, why did you move to America? It's hard to get a green card.
I got a permanent resident.
Okay. How come?
So I was a permanent resident. I got a green card. So I became permanent resident in America, but I went on my own. I mean, I went traveling. I moved to Spain on my own when I was 20.
Was that your upbringing? You were just brave?
Possibly, yeah. My parents, we always traveled. They were never afraid to bring the kids, all four of us, dragging us here, there and everywhere. My dad ran his own business, I suppose. So he went out in the 80s in the middle of a recession, started up his own business, worked really, really hard. Like I'm a pure grafter. I've always had a sideline gig. I've always worked. I've always had
never
one,
fannied around. Yeah.
At one stage when I was living in America, I had 4 jobs. I was working in 4 different places, full time, Monday to Friday, and then working in 3 different kind of bars and restaurants during the week. It was all sleep. It was all work, no play.
So you've no fear. You firmly believe it's not the manifestation bullshit.
No,
you firmly believe if you can change your life, you can.
I totally can. Yeah.
Wow, I love this.
Believe that if
Social snippet.
No, see, like when I moved out to America, I knew one person in the city in New York. Reached out to them, stayed with them for a couple of weeks till I got on my feet. And I just feel like if I really want to do something in life, I'm not going to hold it back. Like, I'm not going to wait for my friends to go traveling with me. I'm going to just go by myself. Because I want to experience life. I'm here for such a short time. I'm not going to waste my time waiting on other people. I'm just going to do what I want.
So if you ever feel unsettled, unhappy, gut feeling about things, you change it up.
Oh, totally.
Wow.
So that's when I moved back to Ireland. I was like, God, what am I going to do when I move back to Ireland? Like, am I going to be going back working in media? I'd love to, but it's a really hard gig to get into when, you're coming back, and I didn't have any contacts in that space. And then there was a lot of jobs in financial services.
Okay.
At that time, it was like the mid-noughties, late noughties. We moved back in 2007. And I was like, I think a lot of my friends are working on financial services. I'm going to work in financial services. They're all moving up high. The money's good. I can totally transfer my skills over to that. Why not? So I got home and had a month's break, just went off traveling around Croatia and Ireland and stuff like that with my fiance at the time, is now my husband, and just started applying for jobs. And within 2 weeks, I got a job in financial services. And I was in it a few months and the recession hit. Wow. And I'd just been made permanent. And I realised I don't really love financial services, but it'll do for now. But I don't want to be in this forever. Let's fast forward 11 years. I was still in financial services, not loving it, but I loved the people I worked with.
Okay.
But did not love
Same job for 11 years?
I would have been with one company for a year, and then I moved to another company, and then I was with Irish Life, and then that got taken over by a Swedish bank. So it was the same role for most of the time, or the same company, but it was taken over.
That's a long time for someone like you. Like, I feel like I know you a bit, and that seems like a marriage. Like, that's bizarre to me. So you weren't miserable. It just wasn't fulfilling
Well, there was a lot of things that happened. The recession happened. There was no jobs. Nobody was hiring. Then we came out of the recession, and I finally got my planning permission, myself and my husband, to build our house. We couldn't get a mortgage because he's a builder. And he was like blacklisted, even though he was actually on paper earning more money than me. They were only counting my wages and him as my dependent. So it took us about 2 or 3 years to get a mortgage. But in that time, we were like, F this. I'm not waiting. We're not waiting for the bloody bank. We've got lots of money saved. We'd loads of money saved from America, all our wedding money. We'd been saving and saving for years because it took us 5 years to get the planning. So we were like, let's just... Typical me. Let's just build the house without a mortgage. If we're 10 years building it, we're mortgage free, that's fine. But let's just see how far we can get. So we got up to roof level anyway.
Wow.
We were like, let's just keep going. And just one of the bank managers that my dad is friends with, not friends with, sorry, was my dad was in the bank doing stuff for one of our family members. And he said, oh, my daughter can't get a mortgage. And then 6 months later, he rang my dad and he's like, is your daughter still looking for a mortgage? Because I'm after getting 3 builders mortgage approvals. And he's like, well, she's built it up to roof level, but they need money to complete it. So anyway, long story short, we got it. We got a small mortgage. We got to build a house. And I was like stuck the reason I was talking about that is because that's why I couldn't leave my job.
Really
I needed
leave
to get
it.
the mortgage.
Yes, you were
then
stuck in a way.
Needed to stay in the job, obviously maternity leave and just the sense of security. That's the word. Yeah. So the sense of security. And then I ended up having 5 pregnancies in 4 years. And yeah, so I was stuck in that role for a long, long time. And when I had my third son, my third child, I had lost my second son, Oisin, through stillbirth, which I have spoken to you about before. And when I was pregnant on my son, Senan, I got pregnant with him quite early after losing Oisin, and I still hadn't processed the grief. I was still going through the grief. You're always going through grief. But I found it really hard, really, really hard to be in an open office environment with 60 people. My job was very much on the phone. If somebody was saying, like, people weren't always nice to me on the phone, I could just like lose the plot. And I would have, like, I had PTSD.
Yes.
So if somebody said something really mean to me, I'm like, oh my God,
you.
You're like, there's worse things going on in life. Like, do you know what I mean? I just wanted to scream down the phone, and I just found it really, really hard to work in that environment. Wow. I wasn't happy in the job. I was going through some just really bad traumatic stuff in my life from losing my son. My sister was in a hit and run. She nearly died. There was a lot going on in the background. And again, I was like, I need to change my life. I need to change my life.
Wow.
And I came back from maternity leave, and I was there for about a year. And I actually had a nervous breakdown where I had to go on leave for quite a few months.
How does that present? Like, how does a nervous... I had someone on the podcast the other day, another gorgeous woman like you, and I was shocked because I didn't know this of her. She's a big...
Not too many people know that about me, actually. Yeah.
She was a big deal in media, and she goes, oh, I had a massive nervous breakdown. I was like, when? She goes, oh, that period, Bex. And I was like, I didn't know that. She goes, yeah, it was burnout, and then it was a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
How does it present itself? Because it happens more often than we think,
It slowly builds up. For me, it slowly built up. I was doing everything on paper, going for counselling, therapy, talking openly about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't hiding things. But I found it really difficult to be in certain situations.
Socially.
Outside. Yeah, which is not me.
Outside your bubble of comfort.
Outside my bubble of comfort. I just found it really uncomfortable being on the train into work. I couldn't get the train anymore. I was driving into work, and just being in an office with like 60 people in an open plan. I just felt too exposed. Do you know? Yeah. And it just hit nerves with me, and I couldn't do it anymore. I just was just bubbling up to the surface. And one day in work, they knew that I was suffering with, having and they were like, just go down the exit anytime you need an emergency exit, go out for a walk. You don't need to explain yourself to anybody. My employers were amazing. The people I worked with were absolutely amazing. Amazing.
It's nice to know.
They were really great, really supportive. But yeah, I went out and I rang my mom and I said, I can't go back in there. I cannot go back in there. I have to go. And I went to my doctor and just spoke with her, and she goes, I think you need some time out. It's just putting too much mental pressure on you right now. You're not able to cope. It's filtering out into other areas of your life now. So just take some time out. And I am not the type of person that takes time out.
Same.
I can't sit still.
Same.
I just can't. There's an underlying condition there somewhere that's never been
just who you are.
diagnosed. No, it is just who we. We don't always have to put a label on it, don't we?
No, it's just who we are. I can't either, Aoife. And I would struggle to not be doing what I'm doing, even though I complain.
Yeah.
It's just who you are.
Yeah, exactly. We're all like that. So yeah, I took some time out, and then I came back to work, and I was actually
How long did you take out?
I think about 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
In that time, what were you working on? Healing? Were you
working on myself, just resting, trying
hard
to get
to
my
parent
mental
though,
health.
right?
I really focused on being with the kids.
Okay.
Right? Because I had 2 really small young kids, and I think that was a lot of what triggered my PTSD. Looking back now, was I felt because I'd lost Oisin, I know what it was like to lose a child. I felt that if something happened to my kids, I've not made enough memories with them. They've not made enough memories with me. And I felt like if something happens to me, I want to spend as much time. I want people to say to them, she was great. She was like, she spent so much time with her kids and you know,
were
whatever.
Loved. You were so loved.
I wanted them to feel loved because my mother was like that. She sacrificed a lot for us as kids with her own career and her own, future, but she loved being a mom and she just devoted everything to us. And I was like, how do I get the balance? I need to do something. I need to work and I need to be here for my kids too. And at that time, there was this balance of working from home.
This train of thought, like so far, I have a few interviews for this big season, which I think is a really instrumental one because it's very much about women. How the fuck, because balance isn't a word I think we can align, but it's how the fuck do we find equal a bit of like income and that equality where you financial independence. God forbid Bobby tomorrow shoves off.
Totally. It crosses your mind.
Nobody knows what's going to happen, right? But then also brain space to create and be creative because you are so smart and talented and you don't want to just lose it. But also love your kids. Know that like I was saying to you this morning, a story about my kids saying, "Oh, you prefer work to me," and I was like, I know she knows that's not true. And I know it was a morning and we were all shattered. But all of that is like, I never want her to ever think that.
Yeah.
Because that's so damaging. And so you made huge choices, sacrifices. I think you're incredibly brave just in general, how you present yourself in life. But you felt 4 months benefited you? And then you could come back.
No, I think I made decisions over that 4 months of where I was going in the future and making plans for what I was going to do. And I got pregnant again with my daughter, Ava, who's now 5. And
this is your last kid, your third kid.
Yeah, my fourth. And I said, do you know what? I said, so part of my contract in work, I had to go back for a year after being on maternity leave. No matter how long you take, 6 months, a year, you have to stay for a year. And within that time, that was when I took the 4 months leave as well. And I was pregnant with Ava and I was 14 weeks pregnant. And I just went in and I said, well, myself and Bobby spoke about this. Obviously, before I did that, he's been at me for years. Come work for the company because he's a builder. He can't do any of that, like payroll, the admin. I mean,
it's hard to keep the ship afloat.
Also, he needs to, I mean, look, most people like him have business partners. He's on his own. I am the business partner. Yes. The two of us own the business. Yeah. But I'm not giving anything to it. I'm in the city working, I'm just on paper. I'm a business partner, right?
And he's got to focus on his game.
He has to focus on it. The business, 2 or 3 years ago, coming out of the recession, whatever it was, he didn't have. I was like, I'm not leaving until I can transfer my pension over, my health insurance. I need a package and you can't give it to me now, so I'm not leaving.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. So he was eventually able to offer me a package, which was a job. Yeah, there was a proper job where it was like 12 to 15 hours a week, right? Doing all the admin, the payroll, HR, all the little bits that need to be done to help run that side of the business. Take the pressure off. And at 14 weeks pregnant with my daughter, I just went in and I said, guys, look, I've had a great time working here. I love you all, but I'm done.
Good.
And everyone's like, mad, Aoife, you're absolute, what are you doing? Go for the maternity leave. I said, no.
Come back, think about it. Take a few years.
No. I said, I can't give. If I'm doing something, I want to give my all to it. I can't give my all to that anymore. I'm done with it. And they own me for 2 years then. I have a year of maternity leave and then a year when I go back. I've got too much to achieve in those 2 years. Wow. That's going backwards, not forwards. So I went forwards and handed in my notice and I finished up there. And
how many years ago?
So I actually was talking to a friend of mine from my job over the weekend. And I was like, it's 6 years at the end of this month. It's like crazy. A lifetime ago.
It is like a lifetime. 31st of March. A long time.
Yeah.
Is there huge power in a decision? Because I think my biggest issue, I wouldn't say I'm a procrastinator because I can be very impulsive, as we all know, but I think the big decisions, when they slowly eat, there's huge power in making a decision.
There is.
Did you feel it or were you scared?
So when I make a decision, I don't make it lightly. I could mull on it for months or a year. Like I have a plan of where I want to be. I'm always looking not 5 years into the future. I'm always looking 20 years into the future. Like, where am I going to be? Like, I don't want to do this for like 3 or 4 years. This is a decision that's going to impact the rest of my life. Like when I moved to America, when I was living in America, to leave America, like I actually just met my old boss from New York 2 weeks ago, his dad passed away and the dad was being buried in Ireland. And I met him at the funeral and he was like, God, how many years is it since we saw each other? And I was like, 2009. So it's like, nearly 20 years. And I always remember him about we'd made the decision to go home to Ireland, myself and Bobby. And he came to me with an offer to be like a business partner in the bars and restaurants. And we'd, open up our own bar and restaurant together. Now he's a big bar and restaurant owner in New York. And a year previous, I'd have been like, absolutely. But when he gave me that decision, I didn't say yes or no. I had to go home and think about it. But I was like, I don't see myself in 20 years' time
doing this.
I mean, I love it. I'd love to do it now, but where is it going to lead me? I mean...
So you feel like every plan you make kind of in your 30s and 40s, there has to be a longevity, hope, future vision. It can't just be, that'll be grand for a year.
Well, it's like, okay, where do I see myself in 20 years? That's what I was saying. I see myself back in Ireland.
What age are you now?
I'm 46 in July, so I'm 45.
God, you look like, you look,
but I was
she
like,
looks 22.
I do
You
not.
do. So you're always like, what's my retirement?
So where am I going to be? When I made that decision in New York, 15 years ago, where am I going to be in 20 years' time? I want to be in Ireland, raising my kids.
You do. You want to be near family.
Near my family. Yeah. I saw a lot of people that lived in New York that were like, the typical quintessential couple like myself and Bobby. I was working in media and hospitality and he was the builder. And then you move out of the city because you have kids. Yeah. And I saw a lot of marriages break down. Why? Because it's great. You're in your 20s living in New York. Yeah. It's brilliant. And
cocktails after work.
And then you get married.
Bit of disposable income
But then you move out to the suburbs because it doesn't work in the city anymore with kids and all that. You want to move out. You want to have the garden. You want to have the white picket fence, all that kind of stuff. There's a commute into the city. There's no childcare. You've no family around with you. As a woman, they became very isolated. That's just from people that I saw that were years ahead of us.
I know.
They were isolated. The marriage broke down. The husband is out working all the time, or the wife, whatever. But there was just, and I'm not saying that happens to everybody.
Well,
but
it happens a lot, even now in Ireland, Aoife. Of
course.
I moved out further because it was too expensive to be in the city. I commute 2.5, 3 hours a day. I work. My husband's the same. Your ships in the night, the strain, the fights about money. That you should quit your job.
Yeah.
Well, why should I quit my job? Where's
our
childcare? Oh, that nanny's quit. She used to go back to Spain. Oh, this one started. She doesn't like that activity. It's not fair in her. And
but can you imagine that in another country?
No.
With no family support.
No.
So I saw
and my
that
husband lives in another country. He's South African. So
you have family here
that aren't involved. That makes sense.
So mine are the same. Like my
sense.
parents are involved when they're here.
I have incredible parents, but they're not of an age to help.
Oh no, I get that.
But I know what you mean. There's a phone call
and there's friends, and you've got a community here.
Have a community.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just felt if I'd moved out, I grew up in a great community. See, I felt if I was in New York and moving out to the suburbs, the loneliness would be intense. It would have been lonely. Yeah. For me anyway. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it would have been. But anyway, it was all part of making my decision. And that was the same with that decision that I made when I was going to work from home.
You're obviously a good couple.
Yeah.
No marriage is perfect. Holy shit, won't even get into that.
No marriage is perfect, but
you're obviously a team.
We are a team, absolutely. Now, we mightn't like that. We're ships in the night a lot of the time. I think all
But I love how you said to me at the top of the podcast, we go away once a year if we can, 2-3 nights. We either have sex time or we don't, or we sleep or we go to an event, but we get that fucking time.
Yes.
And we do it.
Yeah.
And you spoke there very eloquently, and you probably didn't notice yourself saying, I was only going to come into that company when Bobby was going to give me the things that I would get in a company in the city.
Yeah.
And fuck off if you think I'm going to be your wife, doing your books, no offense.
Yeah.
Making your calls and then making food for the kids and fanning them around and shopping around the house. I'm not that gal. Mm-hmm. So when you can offer me a package, we're equal.
Yeah.
But that's a fucking amazing partnership, Aoife, because he values that he knows you're awesome and someone else will take you.
Yeah.
He also knows that only benefits your children. And he also sees that there's longevity in this company. It's only going to grow with you at that helm.
Exactly.
And that's incredible. So whatever about all the other things in marriage that are tricky to keep afloat and you have to come back and do a, fiscal review. How are we?
Yeah.
That is quite incredible. And do you kill each other working together?
Well, we don't work together, you see.
Great.
Because I'm in the office.
Yeah.
And he's out. Now, sometimes he is in the office and then we do kill each other because we've one desk.
It is hard, yeah.
And he leaves the desk all messy with stuff all over it. And I'm real clean, neat freak,
You are a neat freak.
Total neat freak. So good. OCD with the neatness. But I'm glad we don't work together.
Great, because you would kill each other.
We would kill each other, absolutely.
And then there's no mystery as well. You're just with each other all day. And
yeah.
And do you enjoy what you're doing for the job?
Yeah, I do my 12 to 15 hours there. And, to be honest, I can probably get it done a lot quicker now because I know how things run. So what I kind of have at the moment is like 3 things going on. Is I'm working with Astoria Builders. I am doing so I have like, you know, my side hustles or whatever, my Instagram, social media stuff, and I take students as well.
I know, she's a mad joke, right?
Yeah.
I was like, money, you know, if it's always the thing that makes the world go round, and if you're not rich, like how, and you're like, yeah, well, this is how I do it. I've got student specs in the house, and then I content create, and if someone's paying me for that, great, because I'm doing great content, and then the business, I was just like, holy shit kebabs. So the students thing is
time
your
management
gig.
is very
important.
important.
No, it is important because you've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I take students. Yeah.
How often?
At the moment, so we have like 3 language schools in our area. So
Great.
they're always looking for, like a lot of my friends would be doing this as well.
Okay.
You know,
I have a lot of them in my area too. Yeah.
Portmarnock, like, you know, a lot of people are doing it. Pays for your mortgage. Like,
so you get
you know,
a monthly income
or your
from
holidays
that.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I can do it when I want. I can take a break. I don't have to do it. They just throw you out the dates.
For how many weeks? Like a few weeks?
It's all year round.
Okay. Does it affect your home and privacy?
No, it doesn't.
How?
Because I have now, as I always say, we have a downstairs bedroom.
Okay, so it's hidden.
So they have their own bedroom and they have their own bathroom, and they're gone 12 hours a day. They come home in the evening. They're young, like they're students that are over here kind of like on a school trip where they're learning English and doing activities in the afternoon. So by the time they come in at 7, they're absolutely wrecked. They just want to have a shower. They want to have their dinner and then just go into the room.
So they're not hanging out with you?
No, they're not. Absolutely not. No, they're too... They don't want to hang out with us.
Okay.
And a lot of them, English isn't their first language either, so, you know.
And they have a TV in their room?
No TV, no.
They don't care?
No. They have their phones and their iPhones.
Yeah.
But, so I do that. And at the moment, I get them Monday to Friday. Or sometimes I can get them for a full week, but I don't have to take, like, if I'm doing something, if I'm going away for the weekend or on a trip or something, I'm like, I can't do that week, so I just don't.
Just listen to this industrious woman, because I've had loads of, like, big women in media and celebs, and they're always like, this the hustle. You are someone.
I do it all from home.
But you box smart. And I think you do. Like, she's industrious with her travel content. She's not going to go on any old shite trip. She goes on a trip and makes, like, look at her content. Like, it's actually where you're like, aha, I didn't really want to go there, but I can see how she's made it more interesting, and it's not totally shit and it's affordable. Oh, she did Lapland and it's a way I could actually do it and it's attainable. It's not 10 grand. So she's doing that and cleverly marketing herself, and you're only going to grow.
Yeah.
You're taking students in to pay a piece of this and that, and you're working in the business to make sure that is there forever for the kids. And then you're parenting.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Full-time mom, part-time running Astoria Builders.
And is that your happiest role, full-time mom?
Social media, yeah.
Love
but
it.
I need to have my outlet. So that's what I love about the social media for me is my creative outlet. And I don't have colleagues either. So when I go to events,
it's lovely
or
to
go
meet
on a
people.
Press trip, it's so nice, like, to have.
It'd be like bouncing off.
Yeah,
I was so excited to meet you on the trip I went on.
I know, we had a great time.
We had a great time, but it was also nice to have met someone, like, I'm in such hardcore media, to meet someone out there making the content herself. I was like, this is so interesting, and it's interesting to see that.
And I'm a one-take wonder. I don't waste my time, like, you know.
Like, she was so funny. She was
like,
like,
10 photos.
Video it, snap it, video it, snap it.
It literally, what I'm doing is I never put my content up live because I have to enjoy the moment of it. So a lot of it is days later, and people often think that my content is live, and it's not, because you have to be enjoying it, and you have to make that content. Takes hours.
But influencer can be a dirty word. I don't think it is, because I actually think it's a full-blown great talent, unless you're fanning around just putting lipstick on. But you are an influencer whereby there was such credibility, because I watched, because I remember Aisling bringing us together and saying, oh my God, her content's great. And I said, I'm going to need to follow these people. I don't follow enough people. And then I watched you, and it was correct. You actually, because I was like, influencers are just literally addicted to their phones. They're on it all the time. All they're doing is videoing. They're never in the moment. It's all fake. You didn't.
Yeah.
You were in the fucking moment with me, having the bants, and you would live video. So it was really interesting, not live video, but you would video instead of taking pictures, which I'm just a devil for pictures. So it was all there for later. And then it was away, and you're like, oh, I got it, Grant.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like you were stressed, not in the moment or unhappy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and actually, I don't think there's many like that.
I don't know.
I think there's a lot who are just constantly just on the phone.
I do it because I'm passionate about it, and I do it because I love travel. It's all the things I love: travel,
but
food,
it's family
cooking,
travel.
Family. No, there's a little. I always say there's a little bit of everything, because I do go on a lot of trips by myself. I do go with my husband. I do go with my friends, and I do go with my family.
You went on an awesome trip recently, and your bum looked amazing. Just
Which
to let
one?
you know.
Which trip was
Weren't
that?
you in like some nice? I was like, there's
Oh,
a
in the
bump.
swimming pool
You looked
in
amazing.
Galway. That was amazing.
No,
Which
abroad
one?
somewhere
Oh,
recently.
Barbados. Sorry, my sister lives in Barbados.
Oh, Galway. Oh, Barbados.
Well, in
Fuck
Waterford
off.
because I was in. Yeah,
That looked
I had a busy start of the year.
amazing.
My sister lives in Barbados,
Yes,
so I was
sorry, I
over
forgot
visiting
that.
her. And then, I was in Waterford and Galway as well.
What
So
would
I
be
was like,
what would be a dream? Because I know you've been to pretty incredible places, right?
Yeah.
But what would be the trip if you could just no holds barred, no expensive? Like, where would you go?
I think I'd like to go somewhere I have never been before. I'd love to do South Africa.
Okay.
I've never been to South Africa.
That's amazing.
I would absolutely love to go. I'd love to do, like, so there's a lot of trips I want to do that I just, like, I want to go for a while. Like, I want to really, like, when I go to a place, I really want to experience
And
it.
immerse yourself.
Yeah. And I just think with South Africa, you'd need about a month there.
Yeah, you would. But also the travel.
That I'd love the whole like safari and the wine. Like, not that I drink wine, but I just like the idea of the wine tasting part.
It's lovely.
Of it, you know,
I'm not a
I can drink
winer.
the bubbles. I can drink bubbles.
I love a bubble, but I'm not a big wine head. And like my husband's South African, and we go down and do those wine trips. It's just the experience is lovely.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It looks gorgeous, the Stellenbosch and all.
Yeah.
The garden route. Yeah, it looks fab, and the beaches and the food in Cape
Yeah.
Town. Yeah, I'd love to do it all. But that'd be one trip I'd love to do. I'm really into coolcations at the moment as well. Which is
where?
like coolcations. It's
Okay.
like, you know, the buzzword for travel in 2025 is to go to a place that's cooler. Like, it's not a sun holiday.
Okay.
It's a cold destination.
Okay.
So we're definitely going to go back to Lapland next year for sure.
Wow.
That was one of the best holidays we've ever
I'm just
had.
back from a ski trip, and I have to say, as much as I'm a sun
beat skiing.
addict, you can't be.
There is no, like, we all need the sun because we live in Ireland.
No, we do.
But a ski holiday is the best
because
crack.
it has everything.
It's got everything.
You know that the kids are going to be busy in ski school making friends.
Yeah.
You know that your mental health space is going to be out in the air. You know that you're learning something. You have the drinks, the crack if you wanted, the food. You sleep well. What isn't, like, I've skied since I was a little girl, so I love it. And I brought my kid to teach her last weekend. And I was kind of dreading it. I was like, this is going to be hard. It was my best holiday.
Oh, it's just so much fun.
Because you go on a sun holiday and you start to go, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Kind
Lying
of just
by the
sitting
pool.
around. You know what I mean?
I mean, the kids love it and all, but there's only so much you can do. But when we went to Lapland last year, we did a half day skiing and the kids absolutely loved it. So when we go back next year, we're actually going to do 3 or 4 days of skiing and then all the other bits on the side.
How do you parent? What do you like as a mom? Because I think you're a very lovable human. I'd say you're tough, strict,
I'm a bit of both.
but you're very warm as a human. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering how you parent.
I'm an embracer.
Okay.
Right? I'm hugging and kissing and telling my kids I love them
Same.
100 times a day. We all, like, we just spend, I mean, every day it's, I love you, I love you, I love
It's
you.
lovely. It's
So I know that
nice.
sounds really like, oh God,
No,
really
it's
stop.
important, Aoife.
But I am really tough. I am tough love. You're right.
I'm just splashing my entire...
I can be tough in regards to things of, like, I'm not going to take laziness. I'm not going to, like, you've got your chores to do. You got to do them.
What are their chores?
And manners and having respect and kindness. I'm strict about things like that. If I see... they
What would
kill
you
each
say?
other,
So how do you pull them out if they're being little shits?
I basically call them little shits.
So you're strict.
I'm strict in that regard, but I'm fun in the other side. So, like, when we've got all the stuff done and we're all on good behavior and we've all done what we're supposed to do, then we can have the fun.
Because I have a lot of attitudey stuff going on, and you were saying to me earlier, you do, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
how do you nip that in the bud without roaring? Because we're
Listen,
not meant to
I'm learning.
roar.
Yeah, look, I do roar. I do
But
roar.
what is that? It's
So
so
I'm
hard
not gonna
not to
say I
go.
don't
Stop
not
it.
roar.
Stop being cheeky.
Yeah.
Stop being rude.
Listen,
My kid didn't go to hockey the day because she decided to do something else. I'm like, you're 7, and she fannied off to something. And I said to her, you can't make those decisions. I can't. I'm like, you're 7.
Yeah.
But how do you nip? It's just
So I
minefield.
just, like, there's no formula, there's no method to parenting. I think you have to do, we all, like, my husband was very different to me and I was very different to him. So we have different ways of how we were taught to do things. So we teach our kids different things as well because we were taught different ways. And I just think like, I think you're winging it as a parent a lot of the time. Everybody has their own formula. There's no, like...
But you don't put it up with shit.
I mean, I can be a pushover sometimes. It depends on the day. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, just go take it. Just don't do it. Just whatever, you know. But then I will be tough in other regards. Like, I'm not going to take, you know, meanness.
Manners is a big thing.
Manners is really important for me.
Yeah.
And they have to learn that, you know, life is not easy.
That's a worry for me. I've spoken to you
know?
about that a lot, and I've spoken to people. The resilience issue, are they being brought up with any strength? Are they all just fucking snowflakes?
Yeah. I'm trying to just, you know, bring them up kind of the way I was brought up, which was to work hard and play hard.
Is that how you were brought
You
up?
know,
Was it
once
good?
everything is done. Yeah. I mean, I was always, we weren't really allowed to sit down in my house when my dad was around because he's a really hard worker.
Yeah.
And so he'd come home and he'd be like, have you done your chores? Have you tied? And you couldn't tidy your room by throwing things under the bed and in the wardrobe. It had to be done properly. And then you got your reward of your pocket money at the weekend, or you got brought on a lovely holiday.
I kind of like this whole chores thing because I do try and, she's only 7, but I do try and make sure that she's this in the bedroom.
I mean, they're not, listen, they are
what
not
are they doing?
like, hoovering the hall.
Yeah.
Tidying up their rooms, that kind of stuff.
So it's just the basic stuff that they should be doing. Stuff. Make your bed.
Exactly.
Put your clothes
it's just
away.
Basics.
Okay.
Yeah. Now listen, every day I'm yelling at them to make, well, I won't say yelling at them, but telling them to make their beds. Because if I just keep at it, one day it'll just hit them.
Affirmations.
And they'll be like, yeah, okay, now I know I have to make my bed. My mom's not going to tell me. So.
Are you happy in your lot now with your decisions you've made and the progress you've made?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. As I said, I'm thinking 20 years ahead now. So there's a lot that I have planned. Like right now, I'm doing these things where I can be a parent full time, but I still have my 3 little sideline gigs and my little hustles and all that kind of stuff. But right now, it's all about being with the kids and my.
And what if it goes to shit? Like,
I can't.
We're all kind of control freaks, and we're like 20 years time. It's all going to be. What if something
something? Is
are
always,
you good at crisis management? Are you good at thinking in the?
I think I mean, I've been through a lot of things in my life now to know that nothing goes the path you want it to go. So you have to just divert and just go in a certain way. And I don't know what's around the corner. None of us do, but I'm just, winging it. But I have plans for what I want to do in the future. My kids are all going to be older in a few years' time. It's not going to be as hectic. They're not going to need me as much. They'll be in school later. So I'm going to have a lot of hours in the day that I'm going to need to fill. So what is it I want to do? So once I'm through this phase of the ages my kids are at and their schooling, I'm happy with what I've got, but I do have plans for what I want to do later down the line. Maybe I open up my own business or, whatever
I
leads
see
me.
that for you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, and we don't have to dwell on it because you've spoken about it, but for other women, can I ask you how the stillbirth affected you and your husband and changed probably the course of your whole life? We don't have to get into it because I know it's deeply sensitive.
I have always been
Oisin,
very open about it. He's a part of my life. That whole thing was a part of my life. His brother and his sisters know all about him. They talk to him all the time. Every day he's, part of our life. So it was a huge thing. At the time when it happened, I said to my husband, watch me. If I'm not talking, then there's a problem. So just keep an eye on me, let me just be open about this because I need to be. It's part of my healing. And I also had a lot of people who, my journey to being a parent also, or a mother, was not as easy either. Like it took me 3 years to get pregnant. My first pregnancy was an ectopic. And that was really scary, really, really scary. But I think it also gave me the tools of the emotions of how to, kind of.
Topic's so scary. I had that too.
It's a very scary topic. But
it just never goes.
I had a couple of friends of mine who were pregnant at the same time as me, and they were like, one of my friends said, I'm afraid to call over because I'm afraid you'll be, you won't want to see my bump, and everybody is different. And I just said to her, absolutely not. I said, like when I walk by a pregnant woman, all I wish is that she has a happy and healthy pregnancy, and I wish her the best because I don't want anybody to ever go through what I'm going through right now. It's a horrible, horrible, life-changing trauma that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Which way do I want to deal with this? Do I want to deal with it in a positive or a negative way? And I know that sounds really weird, but I just had to just get all the strength of all the people that were around me to help me. And I had a huge support of people. There was days where I just didn't want to be around anybody, and that was fine. But there was days where I needed people to just nurture me and hug me and talk to me. And I think the power of having really supportive people around you, be it from like in the rotunda, they were amazing.
What stage did you lose Oisin? Like
23 weeks. Yeah. So
absolute shock. There was no indication.
I mean, literally, I was in Penny's the hour before my big scan buying like a onesie type of thing, and I had a Penny's bag with me with a few bits in it, and I gave it to the doctor's receptionist to mind for me. And yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
You discovered through the scan?
Through the scan. Yeah, the big scan. God, and then I was thinking, I had such empathy then for the sonographer for so long. I was like, God love her having to tell people
She had to tell you, or the doctor?
Yeah,
she had to
she
tell you?
had to, yeah.
Were you on your own?
No, Bobby was with me. Well, the shock, my God, when Jesus, like she just put her hand on my tummy and she's like, I'm really sorry, Aoife, but your baby has no heartbeat. And you're looking at this big, massive screen of a still baby. There's no heartbeat, there's no movement. When you look at all your other scans, you see that do of the heart, and you see that. And I remember her saying to me, do you still want to get a picture of the scan? And I said, no. And I don't live with regrets, but sometimes I'm like, should I have taken that picture? But anyway, I didn't, and we don't dwell on it too much. But it's an image I'll never get out of my head, is that image up on that screen. And walking out of the hospital. Not everybody's walking out of a maternity hospital happy. And I had to walk out into the throngs of Dublin City, and everybody going about their normal life.
And your life was ended.
I'm like a zombie walking through, you know. So it was
Were
tough.
you broken? Did it break you? Did it completely obliterate all that you had?
No, I've always got hope. It didn't break me.
You always have hope.
Yeah.
Wow. What a woman. My God. I mean, I went through ectopic and miscarriages, and I've had all the walks out of Holles Street where I've wanted to disappear, Aoife, and the loneliness in that.
I've had all that,
and you reached a point of your pregnancy being mature and there, and you were told it's not there, and that is heartbreaking.
I wanted to curl up and die.
But you'd hope.
If I didn't have Kyla, who was 13 months at the time.
13 months.
If I didn't have her, I would probably be a completely different person.
Really?
Because I went home and I had to be mom to her, and she was smiling and she'd no oblivion.
I had to be mom to you, yeah.
So
for the women who don't have the person at home or don't have a steady marriage or support, is there a message like stillbirth that just is so hard on a woman?
It is. There isn't even a word to describe it in the English language. There isn't. And I know I said I had hope because I've always had hope in anything that I've gone through, or a life decision that has been thrown upon me that hasn't been something that's part of the plan. But at that time, I think I was just so heartbroken. And I remember waking up the next morning after that. I still have my baby. Oisin was still in my tummy. That was the hardest, was waking up the next day going, pinch me, please tell me that I just had a nightmare, please, please, please. And I'm holding my tummy and I just know it was all real. And I had to get through every day. And I was getting through. It wasn't even hour by hour. It was minute by minute that I was getting through. And the only thing that kept me going was I couldn't be in the house like all day. I had to get out, just walk, just get out and walk. Just to process things. And normally when you're in the hospital, you're given a tablet and you're told stay in here or whatever. It's like I was saying, I don't take decisions lightly. I wasn't ready. I needed to process what was going on, because mentally, if I'd just done as it was supposed to be done, I just wouldn't have coped as much.
You would have fallen apart.
I would have fallen apart.
So how did you do it? You had to wait and then go in?
I waited a couple of days and then I went back in and I was ready. And I waited 2 days. They give you a tablet to take that brings on labour, and it brings on labour between 24 and 48 hours. I waited 2 days to take that tablet, and then I was ready to take the tablet. I mean, are you ever ready to take a tablet like that? And then I went into labour exactly 48 hours later, and I went in and I gave birth to him. And going in to give birth to a baby with no bag, literally all I brought in was a night dress and some toiletries for myself, because I knew Oisin was never coming home.
Sure.
And I was never going to be dressing him in his clothes and all that stuff. There's so many different stages and moments that are really tough. And that's 8 years now, this September. Is it 8 years? No, it's 9. Is it 9? 2016. Yeah. What are we in, 2024? Yeah. It's 9 years.
And it's still with you every day.
There's not a day go by. I have a candle, Oisin's candle that I got from Féileacán, and I light it every day. And especially when somebody's coming into the house, when there's somebody new coming to the house, I'll always have it lit, because sometimes it goes out. It's a little tea candle that I have in it. And I always want somebody to feel like they're being welcomed into the house by all of us. Do you know, I know that's...
He's there.
I probably never even told that to anybody, but I just always light it in memory of him so that they'll see his candle.
But also
when they
don't
walk.
forget him.
Never forget him. No.
You never
And
found
the
out
kids
what
don't know
happened?
about him. I did. I got an autopsy done.
Wow.
And there was no reason. It was heart failure.
There was no reason?
No. And some people said, do you find that harder? And I'm like, no, actually. Because if it was something, I mean, you have to just deal with the cards, not deal with the cards that you're gotten. But I had to accept the reason why. Maybe I was happier that it wasn't a some kind of deficiency or, you know, something that wrong with me or my, you know what I mean? So I accepted what I was
And
told.
you had no symptoms of change, just for anyone listening to this. There was no, you'd had a scan. There was nothing crazy that happened in the interim.
No. His heart just stopped.
Yeah.
His heart just stopped.
Yeah.
It was literally, that was it.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling, I was quite sick on his pregnancy.
Okay.
And I have a feeling of the weekend it possibly happened, or the time
Okay.
it possibly happened, because I was quite sick. I was grey in the face. And maybe, you know, sometimes you do over the years, you think, when did his heart stop? Do you know, when did it stop? So
how did Bobby cope?
Bobby was there for me. He was like, you are my main concern right now. I'm more worried about you because you're carrying Oisin. You're the one that's feeling him grow. And I don't know what it's like to hold a baby or to be pregnant or anything like that. So he doesn't have the emotions of that side of things, which I totally accept. He's quite different to me. He is more, in regards to emotions, he says he's more emotional now that he has kids. But like his friends would have called him the robot back in the day, like because he was quite emotionless.
Okay.
Not in a bad way, like, but he just processes things very different. He's more like kind of proactive in the way of thinking, whereas I'd be more compassionate and empathetic and all that kind of stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. So he was not emotionally
he wasn't on the floor with it, but he was gutted for you.
He was gutted
and
for
the family.
me more so.
Right, okay.
And the fact, you know, it's like it was our future too together. Like, you know, I mean, I was gonna obviously give birth to our son, and you know, we'd have 2 kids and we'd have a boy and a girl and all that kind of stuff. So that side of things he was more upset about than he was more trying to look after me. That was his worry. Yeah.
Any major words of wisdom? Because I'm so thrilled that you went on to have 2 kids and this future that you have, and you're just very much loved in the industry. And any tips for women who right now have gone through it or going through it, or it was a year ago maybe, and they're on the floor still with it, Aoife, and maybe it's affecting their marriage and it's affecting, are there any tips? It's not just about therapy. Like, what would you say?
Oh, look, everybody is different. I can only go by my own personality, and everybody deals with grief completely different. But my way of dealing with it is to be really open, be really talkative. And I know a lot of women don't like to talk about it, because I know people that have gone through it, and they're not open books. They're not open people. They deal with things internally. I can only go by me. Is that I was very much focused on my marriage because I didn't want it to break us. I wanted it to make us stronger. That was really part of the forefront. And the only way it could make us stronger was for me to be open and talking about it. I feel if I wasn't that way, I could have become a really bitter, negative person.
You're very proactive about your marriage. Did your parents have a strong marriage? You really care about I remember saying to you, if it doesn't work or things happen or people change, and you're like you really care about that relationship.
Because it's forever. You know, like we're really strong. Like there's times where, like, you know, like everybody, your kids are just like, we can't even have a conversation in the house because the kids are just there all the time. So it's really hard to talk about certain things at this stage. So that's why we'll go away, or we'll go out for dinner, or we'll go on a date night every now and again. It doesn't happen that often. But I think we just know that we have each other's back at the end of the day. Look, like we'll squabble, we'll argue about the kids, about paying for this and that, and all, you know, the same as every marriage, you know, but we're strong. Like I'd never have a fight or an argument or go through a phase where I'm like, oh, this is the end. Whereas somebody in my family's marriage recently broke up a year ago, and I remember she said to me, I remember asking you a few years ago when when you fight with Bobby, do you ever just want to walk away? And you said, absolutely not. I've never thought that ever in my life.
Wow.
But she said, I always think that when she only told me this when the marriage ended. She goes, I thought that was really mad because I thought everybody would have thought that way. But I realized it was just me realizing that I wasn't in, it wasn't the right relationship. So yeah, it's like, we're in it forever.
You're an inspiration. I'm so glad you came into my life, even just for that really short amount of time. And then I was like, look, I must get you on the podcast. You're like, look, I'll see. I love what you create and do. I think you're a badass mama. And I just can't wait to see what you do next because
Thank
you're
you.
full of life.
Ditto.
Like there's so much, you're in your mid 40s. You don't seem it. And I'm not saying that we're meant to change but you've so much energy. And I love that because I have so much energy.
I have more energy in my 40s than I did in my 20s and 30s, to be honest.
Those kids have given you life.
Well, I have to.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids to run around, so I need to be healthy and energetic and in a good space of mind. So I really work on all those attributes of my health as I look after my mental health, my physical health, and my social health. When I look after all those 3 parts of my health, then I can be a better person. And I need to be able to run around after those 3 absolute lunatics. So yeah, they keep me fit and healthy.
Thank you, Aoife Bermingham, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Sponsored by Optimal Follow On. We believe that every feed is a gift. That's why we've dedicated over 50 years to breast milk research. Optimal Follow On milk, your life, our science. Breastfeeding is best. Follow On milk should be used as part of a mixed diet from 6 months. Talk to a health professional. If you like this episode, will you please rate it, subscribe and share it with others? This helps me get the guests that you want to hear.